Welcome to Audit Archive, where we run you through some of the most questionable and rather atrocious police encounters. Today, we're looking at a case where police officers pulled a firefighter over, then accused him of being intoxicated, before falsely arresting him and charging him with DUI. The officers were caught on body cam admitting that the firefighter was in fact sober, making this a case of pure negligence. In April 2021, a lifelong Texas firefighter, Mr. Thomas, was driving home from work in Denton County when he noticed that a patrol vehicle was following him. Soon enough, he was pulled over by two deputies with the Denton County Sheriff's Office, who subsequently stepped out and made contact with them. It's worth noting that Mr. Thomas did not display any signs of erratic driving prior to the traffic stop.
Hold on down for me. Back with you in a few minutes, all right? Oh, real quick, would you mind pulling up to that next intersection? Take a right. We're going to pull into the neighborhood. Thank you. How's the demeanor seem to you?
Apparently there's a big car right now.
Is it annoyed that he's pulling over?
Let me pull over.
Was he annoyed? He almost seemed like zonked out.
What?
He almost seemed like he was zonked out. Just watching him just move around very slow.
He was moving pretty slow.
Hmm?
He was moving pretty slow.
So, I mean, firefighter stops in the middle of traffic.
Yeah.
So there's some things that aren't matching right now. So go ahead and run him. I may go up and do a secondary contact a little bit closer on the driver's side and look at him a little bit closer.
Right.
As we've seen, Mr. Thomas was given one single reason for the traffic stop: speeding a little over the posted limit, which was 50 miles per hour. Note that, where a typical traffic detention is concerned, officers generally must have reasonable suspicion that the driver or someone in the vehicle is committing or has committed a crime, and since the officers allegedly observed Mr. Thomas going slightly above the speed limit, we can arguably say that the officers had lawfully detained him at this point. However, the conversation between both officers while in the patrol vehicle was rather questionable. Where one officer initially suspected Mr. Thomas of being intoxicated, the other didn't think the same. However, a few seconds later, both officers suddenly became adamant that Mr. Thomas was slow in his movement and speech, making them want to dig deeper into the traffic stop investigation. Regardless, after pulling into the neighborhood to continue with the traffic stop, the officers immediately started to fish for clues, essentially trying to frame Mr. Thomas.
Hello, I'm Deputy Brent with the Denton County Sheriff's Office. I didn't catch you earlier. Where are you coming from today?
From Travis.
Okay. Have you had
Lake Village.
over where?
Lakewood Village.
Over in Lakewood Village?
Lake Dallas.
In Lake Dallas? Okay. How much you had to drink today? What have you taken today? You taking no prescription narcotics or anything like that? No? Okay. Are you prescribed anything?
Actually, I prescribed Adderall. Take that occasionally.
Okay. When was the last time you took that?
I took some today. Earlier when I was at work.
Okay, when you're at work? What time do you work today?
From 7 till 3.
Okay. 7 to 3? Where at?
Downtown Dallas. I work for the fire department.
Okay.
But right now I'm on light duty.
Okay.
So
Before?
I'm working with communications.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
For my eye, I had a detached retina a few years ago, and then I've had 5 surgeries since then. And
Okay.
it's now starting to cloud out.
Okay.
Anyway, but they won't let me work in the field.
I got you. All right. I'll be right back with you, all right? It's a better excuse for his eye. He's still acting kind of odd. Do you think he's normal, or do you think he's just lethargic? Mm-hmm.
Slow moving. Slow
Yeah.
talking.
Very. Do you think it possibly could be intoxicated?
Maybe.
Okay. Do you feel you want to run him through SFSTs?
You think? Say that again.
You want to run him through SFSTs?
Okay.
And so even if he has like only one good eye, we can in theory still do HGN on him.
Tell him to cover up his bad eye.
We're going to let him run with it open,
Okay.
because even if you do HGN, as you work the good eye out, you're still going to see signs of that.
Okay.
He mentioned Adderall. Adderall's a stimulant. So we may not see HGN on a stimulant. We should see a lot of other stuff. In fact, on a stimulant, we should have some dilation. So if his eyes are pretty dilated.
He's acting so lethargic. You think it's...
So that's some of the indications of like a stimulant. He's very rigid.
Yeah.
Like very weird, like like a lot of weird body movements, almost like there's a lot of that stuff going on. Go ahead and let's pull him out. We'll just talk to him outside of the car for a little bit. When he gets out of the truck, watch his movements.
Okay.
That's one of the best indicators. See, is he holding on to the car for support? What's his gait look like? He told us, you know, he's on light duty because of his eye. Everything else should be fine. So we'll see what comes of that.
Okay.
So we'll go from there.
At this point, after simply speaking to Mr. Thomas and questioning him for a brief moment, Deputy Brandt decided that he and his fellow officer must extend the traffic stop and have Mr. Thomas step out so they could judge whether he was under the influence or not. Note that neither of the officers perceived an odor of alcohol coming from Mr. Thomas or his vehicle. They were making judgments based merely on his movement, which they claimed to be slow, even though he already mentioned his Adderall medication. Note that stimulants such as Adderall raise blood pressure, body temperature, and heart rate, keeping users awake and stimulated while suppressing appetites. This alone could explain most of what the officers found suspicious about Mr. Thomas's snappy movement. The lethargy can also be explained when we understand that Adderall is an amphetamine, which has a calming effect for people with ADHD. This calming effect can make some people sleepy. For some reason, the officers took Mr. Thomas's medication with a grain of salt and proceeded to investigate what they thought was an intoxication.
$34.38.
Just stand at the back of the car.
Could you check my driver complete for me?
No, my right eye. It's your left.
Yeah, my left. Yeah, you're right.
What happened to your eye again? I only caught part of
I
that
had a
story.
detached retina, and then the subsequent surgeries
Okay.
have led to it. It's kind of got a blue haze right now,
Okay.
Yeah.
and so it's just hard to see through this eye. But
Okay.
sometimes it gets kind of irritated. It turns red, and
Yeah.
I don't know if it is now, but
It looks irritated right now.
Yeah.
is it really?
Yeah.
And is this one is
That's clear.
clear? Okay, yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
When's the last time you said you took any medication today?
Oh, like 2
At 3 o'clock
2
today?
o'clock or
Okay.
something. Right? 1 o'clock.
At this point, I just want to ensure you're safe to operate a vehicle. Just given kind of everything I've seen so far, I just want to make sure you're safe to operate your truck. So we're going to bring you through just a few standardized field tests, and we'll kind of go from there.
Okay.
All right. Have you ever had a traumatic brain injury?
No.
Okay, nothing like that. Other than detached retina, any other medical issues?
No.
Okay, nothing like that.
No.
Diabetes, hypertension.
Well, I've had hypertension.
Okay.
I take medicine. I was taking medicine for it, but
Okay. Other than Adderall, are we taking anything else right now?
no.
Just Adderall?
No.
And what's the Adderall for?
Attention deficit.
ADHD?
Yeah.
Okay, or ADD? Okay. All right, you can set them up.
Okay, just stand right here on the flat ground.
As seen in the footage, Mr. Thomas himself made it clear that he was taking Adderall specifically for ADHD. And as we've already discussed, the officers disregarded this fact when judging whether Mr. Thomas was sober or not. Also, assuming that the officers legitimately clocked Mr. Thomas going above the speed limit, meaning that this traffic stop was lawful, they were within their rights to ask Mr. Thomas to step out of his vehicle. Note that law enforcement can request that the driver take field sobriety tests, but the driver has the right to refuse without any consequences. In this case, though, Mr. Thomas agreed to take the test, likely because he was confident that he would pass. But this might have been a poor decision. A common opinion shared by many is that the field sobriety tests administered to any subject are not an effective medium of determining whether they are legally intoxicated or not. Some go as far as claiming that no one can pass the field sobriety tests because they are not designed to be passed. But regardless, both officers proceeded with the standard field sobriety test, and Mr. Thomas performed exceptionally well in all the exercises.
Facing me, put your legs together, feet together like this. Keep your arms down by your side like this. All right, look at the tip of the pin. Don't look anywhere, or don't move your head. You're just gonna look at the pin, at the tip of the pin only. And I'm gonna go up, but don't, or move your head around. Turn your head around backwards. You're not gonna be able to see it if I go up from there. Does it look pretty good?
As heard from the officer herself, Mr. Thomas did pretty good in the first exercise, the HGN, or the horizontal gaze nystagmus, which involves the officer observing the driver's eyes as they follow a stimulus such as a pin. If the driver's eyes exhibit an involuntary jerking movement, known as nystagmus, it can indicate impairment. Clearly, Mr. Thomas did not indicate anything as such.
Okay, next test. Stand over here on the grass real quick. That way I have a flat surface to walk onto. Heel the toe steps back. It's gonna look like this. 1, 2, 3. Series of small steps. 1, 2, 3. I did 3 on both. You're gonna do 9. Okay, go ahead.
1, 2. And then turn around and go back?
Yep.
Okay. Jeez, I don't know why my legs are so
It's like your legs feel weak?
Yeah.
Is that not normal?
I've been on light duty for a while and I just haven't been sitting,
Yeah.
you know. I haven't been working out much either. Just,
Does normal walking make you feel unsteady like that?
no, not really. I mean, like, I walk fine here, you know. But, I don't know why that's. Just feel.
Okay, well, I got one more test for you, okay?
Here, things were a little more interesting. Mr. Thomas might have appeared to perform poorly in this test, known as the walk and turn, but he also demonstrated that he could walk in a very normal manner, except that the heel-to-toe steps made his legs tremble a little. This could have very well been more of a physical issue, especially considering his age, which was well above 50. Keeping this factor in mind, It would come as no surprise that the next test, which requires the subject to hold 1 foot above the ground for several seconds, would be innately tough for Mr. Thomas.
Turn around and face me, put your feet together, arms down by your side. And then keep your arms just like that and your feet just like that until I tell you otherwise, alright? So the next test, you're going to raise 1 foot, either one, approximately 6 inches above the ground, with your foot parallel to the ground. You're going to look down at your foot, keep your arms down by your side, count out loud, 1001, 1002, 1003, until I tell you to stop. You understand?
I think so, yeah. How many was it?
You keep going until I tell you to stop.
Okay. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 16.
Okay, you're good.
Okay.
Next, Deputy Brandt decided to conduct 2 more small tests just to help with his judgment. Note how all the tests that did not require the use of Mr. Thomas's legs were obviously a pass.
I just have like maybe 1 or 2 more I'd like you to run through real quick. Put your feet together, hand 2 by your side, and just face me. You can face me.
Okay.
We're not going to do anything with the feet this time.
Right.
When I tell you to, I want you to tilt your head back. I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to imagine the passing of 30 seconds. You don't have to count out loud. I want you to keep it all inside your head. So you're going to tilt your head back and close your eyes.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
May I begin? Okay. How long was that?
30 seconds? Was that?
36. Pretty close.
Once again, as heard by Deputy Brandt himself, Mr. Thomas performed well. So far, it would be a far-fetched assumption that Mr. Thomas was intoxicated, but we will soon come to realize what the officers eventually concluded. Before that, Deputy Brandt wanted to conduct one last test.
Okay. Have one more for you to do. Called a finger in the nose. Same thing, you're going to stand there, you're going to tilt your head back, just like this.
All right.
Look at me, get your hands. Can you put your finger just like this?
Okay.
When I tell you, I'm going to pick a hand, I'm going to say right, you're going to bring your right finger up, you're going to tip your finger, tip your nose. If this is your nose, I want to tip your finger to tip your nose. Not the size or not the pad, the tip to your nose. All right? When I'm going to call it a finger, I'm going to say right, you're going to bring your right tip, touch your nose, put it down. When I say left, bring your left finger up, touch your left tip to your nose, and bring it back down.
Okay.
Do you understand?
I do.
All right, go ahead and tilt your head back. Right. And put it back down. Left. And put it back down. Right. Put it back down. You can put it down on your own. Left. Left. And right. Okay. You good? Go ahead and have a seat for me right there on the bed of your truck for a second.
Now that the series of exercises had finally come to an end, both officers, along with an additional one who had just arrived, engaged in a discussion in which they all literally admitted that Mr. Thomas was certainly not under the influence, implying that he was not drunk at all. They merely suspected that the only substance in his system was a legally prescribed, non-narcotic ADHD medication known as Adderall.
We started a little early, mostly because I wanted to kind of get them out and get going. 8 gen.
I thought I saw it on like 45, but like barely.
So
I don't know
8
if
gen
it
something you're
was-
going to see sequential.
Okay.
So you literally see it at the beginning.
Okay.
And you will
No.
catch, if you don't catch the first one, you shouldn't see anything afterward.
Okay.
It is a progressionary setup.
Okay.
I told you probably wouldn't see it based on what he
I
said.
didn't see it.
So he admitted taking Adderall today at 3. Walk and turn.
Awful.
I mean,
Miscounted steps, turned wrong, stopped while walking, used arms.
he stepped out of position briefly during the introductory phase. And then how many on the one leg stand?
One leg stand, went to start too soon, swayed arms.
Start too
swaying
soon.
and raised
Start too soon is
arms.
not one. It's all
Walking
movements.
Yeah.
That's all movements.
Swaying, used arms, and
Put a foot down.
yeah, because he asked how long does he have to count.
So his on the Romberg, it's supposed to estimate 30 seconds to kind of see what a clock's at. It came in at 36 seconds, which is right on the edge of the window of error. Error is 25 to 35. So he's right on the edge, so the clock's a little fast, which marks stimulant. That's the stimulant side. And when I told him to close his eyes watching it, his eyes are fluttering like crazy, and his body's like super rigid. I think he's very much on a stimulant. I don't know if that timeline's right. You can always ask him, like, what time do you think it is, kind of gauge where his like orientation's at. So the weirdest part is he's a Dallas firefighter. Okay. He does have a messed up eye. He's on light duty. He has a detached retina. And so I asked him, like, well, what else besides your eye hurts? Anything else? No, just my eye. I mean, I gave him every opportunity to explain to me, like, legs aren't working right, arms aren't working right. He came out of the truck looking good, like walking pretty decent. A little heavy-footed, but like he wasn't stumbling out.
And then during the walk and turn, he said he didn't understand why his legs were so weak and awkward.
So, do you believe he's intoxicated?
I believe he's unable to drive from whatever he has. I don't know about alcohol.
Is that a medical emergency, or are we talking about intoxication?
Intoxicated on something, but I don't think alcohol.
Do you think they have like a medical emergency here?
No.
Okay. So, if it's not a medical emergency, is he normal, or would you believe possibly he's intoxicated under something?
Yeah, I think he's intoxicated on something.
We're probably going to go that route. We're probably going to try to do a DRE. We'll try to do a DRE at the jail. Because I don't think it's alcohol. I don't see any signs of alcohol. I see some signs of the narcotic that he admitted to.
Yeah.
So we're going to go that route.
Despite all the officers admitting on camera that Mr. Thomas was not intoxicated, they still proceeded to place him under arrest for driving while intoxicated, which was a blatant contradiction.
You can't ask me no more questions because we already decided.
Our decision's made.
So go up and tell them one more test, put your hands behind your back.
Go that route if you like to, or you can tell them point blank. I've done it both ways, depending on their engaging. If I feel like they're being compliant, I'll tell them, hey, you be advised, they're going to be placed in arrest for intoxicated, turn and put your hands behind your back. If I don't believe that's going to work, I'll play the trigger. I'll be like, hey, turn on one more test, turn around for me. And that's what I'll do. I gauge the guy when I do that. I think we can go either direction with him.
Yes, sir. We are putting you under arrest for driving while intoxicated. I believe that you're unsafe to drive. Stand up, turn your hands, put your hands behind your back.
Turn around.
Turn around.
Do you have anything in your pockets that would hurt me or poke me?
Just my keys and my glasses.
Okay. Do you have anybody at home who could come up here and pick up your dog?
No.
And possibly your truck?
No.
No one at home?
No.
Okay.
Do you have a friend that could get your dog?
I don't know.
Can't think of anybody?
No, I mean, I'd have to make some phone calls.
Oh, like I said, if you're willing to give me somebody to call, I'll personally call myself. If not, I'm going to have to call my animal control officer, and they're going to pick up your dog, and they're going to put him in our shelter for the night. I'm trying to avoid that option.
I haven't had a drink in over 30 years.
I didn't say you were drinking, sir.
I didn't have a drug in over 30 years.
So far. Step up for me. 34, 38 will be 95.
Where's the animal control?
He works for my agency. I have to call him to come over here with me.
Where is he?
Where is this in Denton? About 5 minutes from our jail. I want you to scoot over a little bit because I have a little space for your hands right over here. So if you move your hand to your left a little bit, you'll find that little gap. There you go.
As a result of this obviously false arrest, Mr. Thomas had to face some of the most devastating consequences. It was reported in June 2023 that, even though his 2-year-old case never found its way to a courthouse, the impact it has had on Thomas's life in that time span has been devastating. The charges spurred an internal affairs case against Thomas inside the fire department, where he had served for nearly 3 decades. That probe led to Thomas's departure from his job. But that was only one part of the ordeal he faced after he was charged. He was hauled off to jail and forced to fork over $1,000 for bail. His dog was handed over to animal control. His movements were restricted by bail bondsmen while his father lay on his deathbed. He had to hire a lawyer, another $3,400. And then, the aforementioned internal investigation led to a separation from a fire department to which he had devoted a lifetime of service. In addition to this, Mr. Thomas later stated that, "I was stone sober and they turned my life upside down. It's a good thing to catch drunk drivers, but it's just not right to turn innocent people into criminals." Plus, he informed the Real News Network that he previously had a tumor that was only recently removed from his left ear, which affected his balance ever since. As of the date of this recording, the charges against Mr. Thomas haven't been resolved. His lawyer simply told him they were dropped. No further updates have been made, and nothing has come forward regarding any interest in filing a civil lawsuit. Be sure to check out our previous video, where we cover another outrageous police encounter